What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Guru Ram AVS, thank you for the support. In today's video, we are taking a look at the Open Ultra League once again, and it is going to be double ice. However, this time we're going to take a look at the Giratina lead version of the line. So this line basically is more of an ABB style, where you have two ice types in the back, and you're going to switch out into one of them to draw out the hard counter, generally the steel type Melmetal Registeel, when you do not face it in the lead. This team is a bit tricky to use because if you stay in the lead matchup and they have a steel type in the back, it's going to cause issues. So a lot of time you are going to switch out no matter what the lead is, unless it's very dominant, something like Giratina into Swampert, something like Giratina into Escavalier, you'll stay in because most of the time they're going to switch out anyways, and you just align from there. If you are more interested in this particular version of the double ice line, I do have a video, I'm going to link it up here, where I basically go over just about every scenario that you can encounter with this team. Feel free to check out that video. This team in particular I feel is better used if you're experiencing a lot of steel types in the lead, and I feel that you do have some more play against bad leads because you could switch out of this matchup more often than you're going to be switching out of the Articuno lead matchups. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please smash that like button, it really helps the channel grow. And without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. Alright, so let's jump into the first battle here, going up against Little S Yuan 2. And let me just say the lag yesterday was horrendous, but playing through it. Giratina into Lapras here, a horrible matchup obviously. This is horrible even for the Articuno version, so it doesn't really matter. Going to switch into Lapras here. Opponent brings out Escavalier. Now Escavalier is a pretty good counter for Lapras, however, with a slight energy lead, you will be able to get off two Surfs, which in most situations is going to apply a lot of pressure to this Escavalier, and they are going to be forced to shield most of the time. So let's see how this plays out. You're going to see I am going to get the second Surf here, and this is going to get the shield most likely from the opponent. It does, and now they'll probably commit to a straight farm. Now actually they can't, because I'll get to another Surf most likely, so they are going to throw the move here. The reason for that was because of the slightly late switch would allow me to get to the third Surf. So here, it's important to not throw your move here, just let him throw and farm down completely, have a bunch of energy stored on Giratina. And now Lapras is going to come back in, you're going to have to throw Dragon Claws, just spam them here. You can't really switch out into Articuno yet, so you want to get this Lapras as low as possible. That's why it's very important to store a lot of energy onto Giratina by farming down the Escavalier. So you can see the opponent's going to throw here. If it is Ice Beam, it's going to KO, so we have to shield. Obviously, it does make sense for him to bait with Surf, but you can't take the risk there because this is still way too much health for Articuno to deal with. So I am going to throw the Dragon Claw here. Now, if you do have Articuno of Hurricane, it's a bit more playable, but still, you want to throw as many Dragon Claws here as possible. We get very fortunate here. The opponent did not throw and allowed me to get that last Dragon Claw in. I'm going to let this go down. Now, he still has to throw Ice Beam to KO, which he does do. And now I can come in with Articuno. He has a Giratina in the back, so this is perfect for us. We have managed to flip this match despite the unfavorable lead. So from here on, we just have to throw the Icy Winds. Probably going to save my shield for the Lapras. Let's see how we're going to play this out. Icy Wind comes through. Yeah, I think at this point it makes sense to just save the shield for the Lapras because Ice Beam is going to do a lot more damage than anything Giratina could throw here. And Icy Wind going to come through. This will knock out the Giratina. I'm not sure if they're going to shield, but they kind of have to because the Lapras in the back is going to get farmed down. So not really much of a condition here for the opponent. They're going to get farmed down, and we're going to take that game. So a good comeback there from a very bad lead. Good start. Munhun here in match number 2. So we're going to be leading our Giratina into a Swampert here. And this is a good lead here. In this situation, the opponent does switch on to Zangoose, so I'm going to bring a Lapras. When I saw the normal typing at the top, I assumed it was going to be Snorlax. So Zangoose does pose a bit of a threat to Lapras, but it's totally fine. They're going to throw close combat right away, so that's going to do a lot of damage. I'm going to throw the Surf here. Because that went through, they're probably going to decide to use a shield here. They do. Winning switch here isn't too important for me for the time being because both Articuno and Giratina have pretty good matchups against Swampert, so we should be fine regardless. As long as I get shields here from the Zangoose, I'm totally fine. I'm going to take the shield advantage. Going to let the Lapras go down here. And I believe we'll just come in with Articuno at this point. Now, unfortunately, we are going to have to take a move here. I'm going to commit to a straight farm now because it is super debuffed from the close combats. But we are going to have to take this move. Still does quite a bit of damage. Able to farm down there. And let's see what he's going to bring in. He's going to come back in with the Swampert. So this is a very good matchup for Articuno. Even though we are down in health, we are going to get off a couple of Icy Winds here. and we don't necessarily have to shield anything at this point, but I'm starting to think that the opponent is probably weak to Articuno in the back, so I am going to shield here, and I'm going to apply a lot of shield pressure at this point. So they do let that go through. Well, they have no more shields. I have the feeling that they have something weak to Articuno in the back, hence why they used their shield here on the Swampert earlier. And it is an Obstagoon, so that actually is not weak, and we're in a very tough spot here because Giratina does not like this matchup, so I have to throw this Icy Wind to debuff the Obstagoon, switch out immediately. Swampert can't farm down the Articuno, so even having that little bit of health is important. Night Slash comes through because this was debuffed. It's going to help out a lot. Trying to build up for the Dragon Claws here. We could still take a couple more Night Slashes here because of the debuff from Icy Wind. So I should be able to possibly get to 3 Dragon Claws here. Let's see how this plays out. We also have to be aware of the switch timer coming up. So I do get to this Dragon Claw because he throws this first. Very high possibility he's going to switch out into one of these moves here. So not this one, this was a CMP tie, but the next one very likely to switch out into. So let's see, over farming he does switch out to Swampert. So because he did this, I'm not hitting any bubbles. I need to farm down, I need energy. So we are able to, I figured that I wouldn't be able to farm down before we got to Hydro Cannon, so I brought in the Articuno to sack. He did not throw the move, but fortunately for us, we did leave with enough energy for the Dragon Claw. I'm going to throw this at the Obstagoon, take this match. Very difficult matchup there in the end. That was a classic Ultra League matchup with the timer running out. Magmar Man 26 here, a veteran, so this is a very highly rated player currently. Melmetal into Giratina, obviously this would be very bad for our Articuno lead, but thankfully we're running a different version this time, so the opponent switches out into Blastoise. I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw here before switching out. I'm going to try to actually catch the Ice Beam onto my Lapras, but that was very poorly timed. Actually, I don't even know if I was trying to do that because there was no way he was an Ice Beam there. Either way, the opponent's going to throw here. He might not have Ice Beam, could have Skull Bash, but I would assume in this meta, Ice Beam probably is the more preferable move. At this point, this has to be another Hydro Cannon, so I'm going to let that go through here. It is very important that I win switch still, so I'm going to have to start investing shields if the opponent decides to, and he does. So I'm going to throw this Surf here. This is actually getting a little bit threatening here, so let's see how he plays out. Our switch timers are desynced, so the opponent actually switches out into Melmetal here, and is going to throw the Rock Slide before I get off this Surf. Totally fine, I'm going to let this go through, and I'm going to bring back in the Melmetal. Very happy with the position we're in now because we do have a shield advantage. So here comes the Shadow Sneak. Switch timer should be back to normal now because I let the Lapras go down. So let's see, opponent's going to throw the Rock Slide here. Would expect him to aggressively switch at some point in this matchup. Going to throw another Shadow Sneak here. And if this does not get the shield, I think there is a possibility that we bait with Dragon Claw. Well, at this point, Dragon Claw will KO, so it doesn't matter. Let's see if they switch out after this. Should be CMP tie, I believe. So at this point, I figured he was kind of dry on energy, so I tried to undercharge to farm more. But as you can see, he actually CMP tied with me. So I'm going to lose the Giratina here. So this isn't optimal. I have an Articuno against his final 2 Pokemon. So let's see what it is. It is a Giratina in the back, so that's absolutely amazing for me, especially with 2 shields. At this point, my win condition is to hold both shields for the Blastoise. This Giratina is absolutely zero threat to me, especially after being debuffed. I have to take everything it throws at me and just get rid of it as soon as possible, have as much health left on my Articuno as possible so that I can knock out this Blastoise. So the Blastoise is pretty low. It is going to be able to shield one of these Icy ones, which isn't optimal, but Ice Shard does generate energy relatively quickly, so we should be able to shield up everything it throws at me and get to another Icy one here. So Hydro Cannon's going to come through. I'm going to shield this up. Should have another one ready. Gets to it now. Shield this up again, and we should beat it to the Icy Wind in order to take this match, which still was extremely close. You can see the timer's running out, but we do get to this Icy Wind. This will be enough to knock out the Blastoise. We are going to take this game. So a very well played game there. On both sides, I feel GG's. Meowwick here in the next matchup. Giratina into Articuno, so a very difficult lead. And this is the situation where you have to decide whether to switch into Lapras or into Articuno. I decided to switch into Lapras, hoping to catch the Icy Wind, which we are going to do now. Of course, he is going to debuff me, which isn't great. Scizor comes in, also not great, but you know, it's doable. Scizor is kind of threatening to this whole line, and I swear, Scizor gets the boost every single time against me. I have not seen a Pokemon that gets the boost more often than Scizor. It's like ridiculous. So at this point here, I'm going to let this go through. I will survive, and I should be able to get off this Surf. But But this is not an optimal situation because now I'm going to get farmed down. It's just everything's going wrong in this match so far. So I'm going to get farmed down here, and I'm going to bring in the Giratina. Look to throw the Dragon Claw before he throws his move. So I do what would be CMP tie, but he does shield. So at this point I have a decision: do I shield this? Do I let it go? Because he's boosted, I have to shield it. That's the problem. If he wasn't boosted, I could have let it go. But because it's a boost, it's going to do way too much damage, so I do shield that. Opponent's going to come back in with Articuno. Going to throw the Dragon Claw here. And it's going to do decent damage. I switch out into my own Articuno, hoping that he might have Giratina or something weak to my own Articuno in the back. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. Going to get hit by the Icy Wind here, totally fine. And I go for the Ancient Power. Now at this point, opponent chooses to shield, which makes me think at this point he's weak to Articuno in the back. So he's going to beat me here. Obviously he's ahead on energy, and it's a risky play here because I know Ancient Power will KO, but I overfarm by 3 there, and he times it into the Giratina. So I don't know, I overfarm. He must have just got lucky with the prediction there. Very well played. And now the game is pretty much over because he caught an Ancient Power as well. It wasn't even a nice win. So very winnable game here despite a very bad lead. You can see this team does perform pretty well even against tough leads, as long as they have something that is weak to the double ice in the back like a Giratina. But in this situation, I just misplayed it there towards the end, and the opponent played very well, and we're going to lose this game here. So I didn't even throw the move here because I figured I had to get a bit ahead on energy because their Articuno probably was close to a move, so it wasn't much of a win condition for me after I threw that game. So XS Felipe here in the next matchup. Going to lead Giratina into Empoleon, so this is a very good lead. And like I said in the previous video, whenever you see an Empoleon, it's most likely the Empoleon, Togekiss, Giratina team, which against this particular, like, it's already bad against the other version of this team with Articuno lead, but with this variant, it's like impossible to play out of. So the opponent here builds enough to Blizzard, so I do shield that, of course, because I don't want to get one shot by Blizzard. I don't know why they would shield here. Really does not make sense, especially because this can't be a Blizzard at this point, so it's another Hydro Cannon, and it's just going to give me more farms, so I'm going to go for Dragon Claw here. This should be enough to knock out the Empoleon, and they bring in Togekiss. I'm going to switch out into my Lapras, and it's pretty comfortable guess to assume that they have Giratina in the back, especially when they're not switching out, so I throw the Surf here. They're shielding, of course, because they are afraid of this Lapras for their Giratina. What they do not know is that I have an Articuno in the back for the Giratina, so very rough spot for the opponent to be in. I'm going to farm down here completely, still have a shield as well. They're going to bring in the Giratina. I'm going to throw the Surf here just for some chip damage. I wouldn't make it to the Ice Beam. Obviously, it doesn't matter. We have Articuno. And I could bring in the Giratina, throw the energy I have. I have 2 Dragon Claws pretty much ready here. So let's see if they throw their energy before I get off the second one. They do. Gonna let this go down and just bring an Articuno for shield, which is going to be a GG here. So a very good lineup for you to go up against is that Empoleon, Togekiss, Giratina line. You love seeing that with this team. Shishamo0921 here in the next matchup. Giratina into SirFetch'd. So this is quite the spice here for Open Ultra. A pretty good lead here for me, so I don't expect them to switch out and trying to catch the move. I bring in Lapras here against their Snorlax. This should be a body slam. Most people aren't going to throw Superpower right away because it's going to flip this matchup incredibly in the favor of Lapras here. So I'm just going to throw the Surf. And the unfortunate part is that we're likely going to have to shield at some point, so that isn't too great, but we should maintain switch still, which will be totally fine. Snorlax going to throw the move here, likely going to be a superpower at this point. I believe this will KO, especially from the shadow, so I'm going to shield this up, farm down, and have the Surf ready for the SirFetch'd, which I assume will come back in and look to farm me down. So let's see how this plays out. Gonna throw the Surf here, and the SirFetch'd is going to choose not to shield. And there's a possibility I could get to another Surf here, but you could see the lag comes through and I'm not able to get that Surf. I'm pretty sure if not for lag, I would have got that Surf, which would have forced the shield. And you're going to see that plays a huge role in this game, because assuming the opponent did shield the SirFetch'd, they would only have 1 shield left here instead of the 2, which would make this a much more playable situation for me. So I really do think that lag played a minor role there. Assuming I would have made it to the Surf, Of course, it's debatable, but you can see I did get the Dragon Claw bait in there expecting the shield, so that was very good. Rock Slide comes through. And now, of course, if he had no shields after that, we'd be in a very good spot here. So Rock Slide comes through. I expect as soon as his switch timer comes up right here to switch into SirFetch'd. I knew it was going to happen, but I just didn't act on it, and that cost me the game. I didn't shield either. I thought I would survive it. Clearly, I do not. So at this point now, the game is over. But the thing is, if I did get that shield on the SirFetch'd, I could have still beat this Melmetal here, I believe, with 0 shields. I think Icy Wind would be enough here with Ice Shard damage to KO. But because he still has that shield from the lag, that's not going to be the case. So I am going to lose this game as a result. A little bit unfortunate, but like I said yesterday, the lag was very, very bad. So not only yesterday, I mean even today, the lag's pretty bad. So GG's. GG Geronimo here in the next matchup. Giratina into Empoleon again. Whenever you see Empoleon, you have to assume it's that line. When they switch into Giratina, you could pretty much confirm that it is the line. And this is pretty much hard counter here with this lineup. There's nothing the opponent could do. I don't think there's like any way to win this matchup unless they have Blizzard and somehow land. Even then, like the back line can't do anything against the double ice. So yeah, it's very difficult for the opponent to come back against this team here. And we're going to survive this, of course. I'm going to farm down completely, have a couple of surfs ready, which will be enough to, well, it's not going to really do much. It's going to hurt the Empoleon a little bit, you know, it's better than nothing, but at this point, the Giratina in the back is going to have a very good matchup. And the only issue here, I believe, is that the Empoleon can farm us down, which could give it enough energy for the Blizzard, of course, on the Giratina. So I'm going to be forced to shield. The only thing, though, is that even if I use both my shields here on Giratina, I still have such a good matchup in the back with Articuno. And when they show Drill Peck there, it's impossible that they have Blizzard. So Togekiss comes in. I'm down in shields, but this is such a dominant matchup, especially after I debuff the charm damage some more. It's pretty much over. I could shield this up, and at this point I could actually farm down completely and have the Icy Wind ready. I mean, it's not necessarily important for this particular matchup, but we may as well debuff the Empoleon. We've already seen that it does not have Blizzard, so there's no threat here. But yeah, this game is pretty much over. So I'm going to throw the Icy Wind here and just come back in with the Giratina. Switch timer should be up, bring it in. Throw the Dragon Claw, and there's really no point to shield this because the game is over. So the opponent lets it go through, we're going to take that game. And let's move into the next battle. I believe this is the final battle of the video. Watford Dragon, very good trainer that I battled in the past. And he has Alolan Sandslash. Now this is not a misclick into the wrong league. He does play Open Ultra League with Alolan Sandslash. So very difficult matchup for Giratina, of course. I'm going to throw the Shadow Sneak here and look to switch out to Lapras, hoping to catch the Ice Punch, but we were not able to. So Heracross comes in. Gonna throw the Surf here. And Surf is going to do a decent chunk to Heracross, as you can see. And I was debating here whether to shield or not, but I decided not to. Just come in with the Giratina and farm down, I think is the better play. So I let that go through. And we're gonna maintain 2 shields each. So I will get hit by a close combat here, but it's not a big issue. I guess I could have thrown there, but I think it's more important to have the energies instead of, because it doesn't really do much damage, right? So I think it's better to have the energy there. Sandslash going to come back in. I'm going to have to shield this up. Ice Punch. Going to throw the Shadow Sneak here. Would not expect this to get the shield, but at some point I do expect him to shield, so I'm going to look to bait with the Dragon Claw, and I'm going to do that right here because I expect him to shield at some point. There it is, the shield, so we save some energy there. Opponent's going to throw another move here. I think we could survive an Ice Punch, so I'm going to let this go through, and I'm hoping to get to this Shadow Sneak, which we do get to, and the opponent is going to be forced to burn a shield here, which they do, and I'm going to switch out into Articuno. And this is the call of the game here. I expect it to be Ice Punch Bulldoze. It's Blizzard, so that is the move that's going to do the most damage, way more than anything this Swampert could do to me, so that's going to cost me the game here. Had I shielded up that Blizzard, we'd have a very good matchup here against the Swampert, of course, so just very unfortunate, but you know, it's hard to predict that somebody's going to have Blizzard here. Articuno would definitely win this match against Swampert if I did shield the Blizzard, because this next Ice Wind would KO, and it would have been pretty close in the end, but think we could have taken that game. But either way, very well played by the opponent in that game. So those were some battles with the Giratina lead version of the Double Ice team. As you can see, it does have some play against bad leads, and some of you may be more comfortable running this specific version of the line as opposed to the Articuno lead. So if that is of interest to you, go ahead and feel free to test this line out. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.